it's Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody's enjoying themselves. Of course, I'm trying to cut the song off quickly before infamous YouTube gets angry at me for fair use issues. Yeah, no, it's like 30 seconds, I think. And man, they're tough with it. Tough, I tell you. So anyway, hope everybody out there is doing really good. As you can see from the title of the show, I am calling this Manifesting 201. And anyone that wants to try to get in touch with me, please feel free. It's spiritradiodanstyle@gmail.com. So please, and also always subscribe. Dan Radio Style is my channel, and I love subscribers. I mean, I do. I truly love you guys, all of you. There's I don't know, a few of you right now. And I'd love to see that number grow, frankly. That's kind of what I'm trying to do some of this stuff for. Plus, it's just groovy practice for my whole voiceover extravaganza that I'm going for. One thing that I think is really cool, first off, Manifesting 201, the name of the song I was playing is called Affirmation, and that is by Savage Garden. Honestly, I think one of the funniest band names ever. That's up there with like Dodge Ram and other things like that, because Savage in Garden? Really? I mean, I guess if you had like a lot of Venus flytraps or poison-spitting plants, maybe. It's Savage. Ooh, it's a Savage Garden. That rose is so beautiful. I'm going to die. Whatever. All right, so Manifesting 201. The reason it's called 201 is for those of you that have not maybe listened to some of my other manifesting shows or positive thinking or any number of shows that are kind of leading up to this. This is sort of an attempt at going to the next level and speaking to that. I have had some very, very groovy things going on in my world. Yeah, I said groovy. That was for you, Kay. I'm supposed to do a little shout-out, so yes, Kay, that's for you. Groovy, groovy. She hates that word. That's pretty much why I'm saying it. Well, she didn't hate it. Okay, you're right. I can hear her screaming at me already. So it's a lot of really, really awesome, groovy, radical things have been going on for me lately. And I kind of wanted to get into sort of what's been leading up to it. For me, it's been the next step in my development. So to do a quick recap on some of the Manifesting 101 concepts, obviously staying positive, huge, very, very important in the big picture. The other thing, and I've talked about chakras, so there's another show you might want to check out. There's 7 of them that at least I'm dealing with. There's supposedly a 12 chakra system and probably other ones. Those are the 2 I'm aware of. And I don't know a whole lot about the 12 chakra system. I just know about the 7 one, and that's the one I've kind of used and sort of taken into my own kind of being and worked with. So it's the one I'm going to talk about, frankly. That's how that works. The first 3 chakras are kind of the earthly chakras, lower level chakras. I'm not going to go through all the specifics on them, but really in my mind, the big difference or the big leap, I have a show called The Great Leap, deals with this specifically. A lot of shows, some good stuff out there. You might want to go back and listen to some of them. But the Great Leap deals with the step between the 3rd and 4th chakra. 4th chakra is our heart chakra. It is the place where you begin to feel without necessarily seeing things. The first 3 chakras, very earthly. It's like gut feelings and what you experience, how to deal with maybe sexual energy, all those kinds of things, right? It's very, very into the very earthly kinds of planes, if you will. And so that is a big part of what those levels are for. Now, once you get into the 4th level and higher, you start getting into feelings. You start getting into soul level stuff, spiritual feelings, God, talking to God and the universe, and Holy Spirit and Christ, and all these different energies start to really come through on your upper level chakras. Now, when you're doing manifestations from the lower levels, it's very, very cool because you'll get confirmations along the way. So you still do the same things. You still think, say, and do positively, and you tell the universe, hey, this is what I'd like to experience. Instead of the example I frequently give, instead of I don't want to be sick, you say things along the lines of I wish to be healthy, I am healthy, I'm always healthy, my immune system is what keeps me strong, and health is always on my side. That is essentially telling the universe, here is what I'd like to experience, as opposed to what many people do, where they try to negate a negative statement, meaning I don't want to get sick. You throw the word not or don't or anything along those lines, and all of a sudden now you're trying to negate a negative concept, and the universe doesn't hear the negative part. It doesn't hear the negating, if you will. So I know in many of our minds, a double negative makes a positive. In the universe's mind, there's no such thing as a double negative. It's just negative. So it's a good thing to keep in mind when you're really, really trying to work on it. And on the lower levels, and I don't mean that in any sort of bad way, it's just kind of working through things, and it kind of helps us all sort of gauge where we're at in the big picture. But as you're working through these levels, it's kind of good to realize that you're going to get some affirmations. So you're going to be doing these positive things. The beach ball is a great example. Again, I'm referencing shows. I'd like you to go back and listen to them if you will. But you're going to see these things, and it's going to confirm. You're going to get that free parking place. You're going to get those green lights on the way down to wherever you're going. You're going to start small and then kind of work up to bigger things. Manifesting 201 is when you really are manifesting from the higher chakras. And this is truly where the step into what some would call mastery begins to happen, or is happening, really. There's not beginning about it. It's truly the stages of mastery. And then there's, I think, variances of that. Like for anyone that's been in martial arts, once you get your black belt or the equivalent, I think red belt in some things is kind of the same thing, you are now a master of that art form. Maybe some it might be the third degree or a master, whatever the case is. Once you get a black belt, you're really awesome. And then there's levels to that. There's degrees to it. There's, like levels. I just say that again. That's very redundant, but sure, it's important. But yes, you're going to work through them, and you become better and better and better at it. So really, the great leap in my mind, you are really kind of operating from mastery level when you're truly following your heart, following your feelings, and not necessarily having a whole lot to go on. You're totally taking a step in the positive right direction. So how this works when you start getting into the higher levels is you're still positive thoughts, positive speaking, and positive doing. And I want to say one thing, and this is at any levels. Doubt is a negative. Doubt pulls you away from what you're trying to do. Whenever we question, and I'll tell you this, frankly, too, this is one thing that's really fun to keep in mind, because if you're actually seriously working on this, a lot of people are like, well, I don't actually mean that. Yeah, no, that's not how it works. The universe is taking you very at face value. So if you're saying things that are negative and you're trying to tell yourself that you don't mean it that way, trust me, the universe doesn't care that you're lying to yourself. It's not going to give you any sort of breaks. It really comes down to controlling your thoughts, your words, and your actions. That is what spiritual development is. And also to reiterate, which is something I think I've dealt on with other shows, and a neat philosopher, Alan Watts, talks about as well, you are perfect as you are. So there's no improving yourself. So don't think for 1 second that after doing all this, you're going to be a better person. What this is doing is teaching you to become better at manifesting. All right? You're already perfect as you are. This is helping you get in touch with your spiritual side and helping you manifest things so you can live in this world easier. You can maybe understand what's happening to you on an easier level. And it really enhances a lot of your spiritual tuning, if you will. It's like a old school radio. You really had to fine tune it. For those of us that are older, well, those of you, I should say, that are younger, digital has always been the case. But it's like, the stations, to use a popular one out here, 102.7. It's a popular station here in the LA area. But if you tune it into 102.5, you might sort of kind of hear the station, but you're not really dialed into it, if you will. So that's kind of what this is meant to do. It's meant to help you sort of dial in your spiritual beauty. The station is still playing when you're listening to 102.5. You're just not really truly hearing the full potential of that radio station. So therefore, once you dial it into 102.7, all of a sudden you're actually hearing Kiss FM, and boom, you're on it, right? So again, doubt is kind of negative. And early on, like I said, you're going to get signs. And as you start to jump into the fourth chakra, fourth is the feelings. Fifth is speaking. Sixth is seeing. That's when you start to see things that aren't necessarily there. And seventh is really kind of a compilation of all of it, but it's really kind of pulling the thinking about, your acting from. It's really following through on what you're feeling in the highest form of our bodies, if you will. So it's really, really the big step. And what's really beautiful about this, and I'm going full circle on this, trust me. What's really, really cool about this whole concept is when you start to get to these levels of mastery, you'll actually find that you feel something very strongly. You feel it. You feel it, and it smacks you in the face on a regular basis. But you will see in the real world absolutely nothing that proves it. Absolutely nothing that would indicate that what you're feeling is correct. In fact, you will question your sanity on many, many, many occasions through this whole ability or this whole training, because ultimately that's what happens. That's kind of how this plays out. And you learn through doing this, through following your feelings, even though there may be nothing to show it, but these feelings are so strong And again, that's kind of the earlier levels of mastery, even for the higher parts, right? The feelings are super strong. And I would assume, not there yet, so I don't know, but I would assume as I get even higher in these levels, the feelings become more minute or more small. But I know I need to trust them because I know to trust my feelings, right? And so regardless of what happens in the outer world, I've got this subtle feeling, if you will. I'm following it because I know exactly how this works. But how it's been going lately for me, and this is why it's so cool for me, and I think it's almost a form of graduation, because I think I've gotten some of my, I'm getting some of my signs finally to indicate that these things are in fact happening. But I'm moving through, like I said, the 5th, 6th, 7th, and all these things are starting to manifest for me. I've been having very, very strong feelings about a certain someone that means the world to me. That K person happens to be that person. I've also been having strong feelings about my career. I've been having strong feelings about my my voiceover stuff, about my artistic endeavors in general, and all these things are really starting to come to fruition. I've got voiceover work that's happening. I'm doing currently a lot of voiceover stuff for Clear Channel Radio, which is very, very cool. And I'll probably end up linking some of it as time progresses, but that's going wonderfully well. I have also had a little bit of an acting gig kind of kick in for me, which was very cool because I used to do theater and stuff when I was younger, and I kind of bumped into someone that's helping me in a character development class I'm taking that's going to help with voiceover. Like all these things are tying together, and here I get like kind of a speaking role in a small movie trailer, if you will. So that's also very cool. Also equally cool is kind of finally worked through a phase with this individual that means the world to me. I mean, I've really, I think, been searching probably my whole life to find this person, and I believe I finally have. It's been a struggle. It's been tough, and I don't think we're necessarily totally out of the woods yet. But I think we've come so far, and today was a huge milestone for the two of us. Certainly for me, in what I've been dealing with. I got my huge confirmation. And I was extremely appreciative to this individual for sharing with me because it was huge. It's been easily the most difficult spiritual thing I have ever tried to go through in my life, hands down. I have had every bit of doubt thrown at me. I have doubted it numerous times. But again, inside my heart, it's been screaming at me to hold the course, that this is going on, that this just keep following it down this path, that it's going to work out. You may not see it yet, but it's coming. It's just one of those things, like, I don't know if you've been driving on a road and you're like, did I miss it? And you're like, there's party that's like, no, it's just a little bit further up the road. Eventually, yeah, there it is, you know? It's just, it's been crazy awesome too, for that matter. So really, I want to say one of the things that really sets apart manifestation, doesn't matter what level you're at, this is one of the most important key things, and it's why you start small, and it's why you progress through the levels, but it is your level of belief. Truly, it is your level of belief. It is how strongly you realize what you're doing actually works. And that's why you start off small. That's why you start with the beach ball. That's why you start with green lights. That's why you start with parking places. That's why you start with simpler things, because it's very easy to prove these things to yourself. And then you start to progress through it, and then you start getting into larger things, basically. But ultimately, it always comes down to following your feelings as you get higher up these levels. It is amazing. It's all heart chakra. Once you make that great leap, you can never go back, mind you. You wouldn't necessarily want to, but there are times when you'll almost miss the ignorance is bliss concept that you had going on in your life. But ultimately, it is the feelings that take you to it. Feelings are where you're gonna feel the Holy Spirit, you're gonna feel God, you're gonna feel Jesus, you're gonna feel higher self, you're gonna feel whatever you want to call it, universe, Mother, Father, God, all the different names people have for all these things. That is where it comes from. It's the feelings. So I want everybody to keep this in mind. This is Manifesting 201. It's a large step into the world of manifesting and creating whatever it is that you seek. So enjoy the journey, my friends. I'll do more show. It's Dan Radio Style. Give me a contact at spiritradiodannstyle@gmail.com. Always look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day and get and have whatever you desire.